everybody, it's your host of the Cult of Horrors, Devrell Davis, and we're doing a video today. This is episode number 2. We're doing a video today on a rapper. Okay, we'll get into detail who this rapper is. I think in the last week's show, I'll let you know who it was. It is Big Lurch. So I'm gonna be yawning because I am so tired. So let's get into that. Last night I had a 102 fever. This morning was 101. Just checked it before I started doing this. 99.9. I'm about to go to the urgent care in a second or so to see. I've been feeling weak, listless. Might be a little bit dehydrated from work. Got my water here. I'm trying to drink this a little bit. So, yeah, my energy level is gonna be low today, but we're still gonna talk about Big Lurch and the horrible crime of supposedly done by him. I'm not gonna get into his rap career too heavy. I'm not gonna get into what people believe. And what I also am part of that. That he possibly didn't do this. It should be investigated a little bit deeper. There were more significant reasons why we believe this. I'm gonna be a little bit factual, talk about the facts of the crime and everything today. But like I said, please forgive me. I'm listless. I'm a little tired. Feel very weak. But this is probably the only opportunity that I get to record this, so it's gonna be recorded and put out there. As you know, my host is in the background, my dog. So if you hear Breen Bro, please, they're just doing their thing. So let's get into the story of Big Lurch. His name is actually Antron Singleton. He was born September 15th, 1976 in Dallas, Texas. He was growing up, he's very much into poetry. He liked to rhyme, and to the point where he became 15, 17 years old, he decided to make this a full-time career for him. So he decided to go full head, balls deep into rapping. With that being said, he moved to I'm going to be pronouncing stuff messed up too, so please forgive me. He moved to Valero, I'm about to say Florida, California. And with him being there in Valero, California, his dad's also from there. Valero, California is in the Bay Area, by the way. It's close to Oakland. So, rightfully so, he's going to be dealing with other rappers like Mac Dre. At the time, this is like around 2000. Mac Dre. Actually, this is before 2000. It's like in late 90s. He's gonna be dealing with the likes of Mac Dre, E40. He got up with the RBL posse, SIBO, rappers like that. He was dealing with in the late 90s. Because I'm trying to get these facts. I'm a little off. So, with this in the late 90s, he dealt with them. He made music. He made regular music. When it got to 97, 98, he decided to get into the genre of horrorcore. Now, he was a basic rapper, rhyming and stuff like that. But he got more into the likes of horrorcore, which is like Eminem, Insane Clown Posse, genre like that, where they talk about the most evil, most villainous stuff you could do possibly to anybody, and they pretty much put it on wax and make it be known that, listen, this is horrific rhymes that we putting together. I had the likes of Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th, Michael Myers, stuff like that. He rapped about and doing certain things that you should be doing to people, the R word, the K word, and destruction, all that other stuff. If you want to know what horrorcore is, I'll try to put a definition down there below so you could pretty much get a better understanding. If not, you could go ahead and listen to earlier Eminem or just any Insane Clown Posse song ever, and you'll get a better understanding of the extremeness of horrorcore. All right. Not really, with this world being censored somewhat. It's not really out there in the forefront as much as it used to be. But also, in the other hand, with us being so desensitized, I'm amazed that it's not out there in the forefront as it used to be. All right, so moving on. He ended up getting to early 2000s. Before that he made up a group. His group was called Cosmic Slap Shop, which include 2 other rappers. He was always a solo rapper, but he made up a group called Cosmic Slap Shop. Their stuff is recorded and published. You can always go look it up on YouTube and stuff like that. I remember growing up as a teenager in the 90s. I seen some videos. I remember Big Lurch. Big Lurch was named Big Lurch because he's 6'7", and they named him after a character from the Addams Family. So with that, I remember him because he stood out because of his height. I was like, this guy should be playing basketball more so than here spitting these, these rhymes. Not the best rhymes in the world. They were very simple, but they were horrific. All right. With this in 2000, and I'm going to fast forward a little bit to get the story going because I'm sorry, I'm just so listless. I'm going to try to keep this short. I promise you my next video, if everything's okay, knock on wood, hopefully it's not COVID or whatever, I'm about to go take a COVID test in the afternoon. I'll have a lot more energy to bring to the table. Just right now, I'm just like so weak. And I think it's dehydration too. So after his time with Cosmic Slap Shop, he went single. With him being single, as far as a rapper, he started his single career. Named Big Lurch was starting to get out there a little bit more. People knew him in the West Coast, in the Bay Area, such and such. He went over. People in Texas, where he's from, know him also. Now, his grandmother passed away in 2000. He drove down to the funeral in Texas, down there to go see, to pay his respects. While he was down there, his car got hit head on by a drunken driver, which put him in a coma and broke his neck also. With that being said, I'm tall. I'm 6'3", so I know the back issues you have being tall. Him being 6'7", I used to get back spasms. Him being 6'7", I can only imagine. And the weight that he carried, I can only imagine the feeling. But he was on morphine and became addicted to morphine to relieve the pain. And once the morphine was no longer administered to him, he chose another aspect, another route to go, and he went the route of PCP, which is angel dust, sherm. It could be smoked, it could be sniffed, it could be dipped in cigarettes, or have your cigarette dipped into it and then you smoke it. Once you do these things, PCP is a hallucinogenic. It will make you believe, it will give you euphoria and numbness and stuff like that. But also, I've never took it, so I don't know. It's just things I read up on, and you can read up on it yourself and find out more. And this gave him, you know, a little relief from the back pain that he was going through, especially the broken neck. He had these issues being 6'7" and being in a major car accident like that gave him pain. So I'm not saying it's all right to smoke PCP or sniff it or whatever, whichever way he consumed it. But you know, I think you can even drink it too. It's weird. Angel dust ain't a thing. I know a guy that was in angel dust and he fell out a 15th floor window. I think supposedly on purpose, and fell 15 flights, lived, has a dead arm now. It's just black and blue, and it's just dangling off whatever side of the body that it's on. I forgot what side it was. I knew this guy a few years ago. So with that being said, now let's fast forward to April 10th, 2002, and this is where shit's gonna get funky. All right. Tanisha Asayas, hopefully I'm pronouncing her last name correct, was the boyfriend, and I think, excuse me, she was the girlfriend to, I think, Big Lurch's roommate, or all three of them lived together while they stayed in LA. While he's moving on with his music career, he got a lot more opportunities now at this point in his career. And with that being said, these opportunities led him to move into LA, and he was in LA with a guy named Thomas. I don't know his last name. Thomas is the boyfriend of Tanisha. Say is the person that we're going to be talking about more in depth right now. Apparently on one night, April 10th, Big Lurch and everybody else in there was smoking PCP. Supposedly she was, Thomas was, and other people that was there. Abruptly, out of nowhere, Big Lurch gets up and tells everybody they have to leave. With that being said, everybody leaves except for Tanisha. He keeps Tanisha there. This is allegedly, and this is supposedly. With that being said, Tanisha and Asayas were still there. Tanisha, Asayas, and Big Lurch were still there. He ended up hitting her over the head with a children's scooter. You know, those hard metal folding scooters that, you know, it's, believe it or not, that could be a dangerous weapon. And he's a big guy. He could pick that up and easily swing that when she folded together and, like, boom, use it as a weapon. He uses that as a weapon to beat her with, to a point, and she's on the floor, incapacitated. He takes a knife now, opens up her chest cavity, rips out lungs, organs, intestine. I don't think the heart. I don't know why he's selective in that part. And at no means do I mean any type of disrespect to Tanisha. It's just the thought process that's happening with this crime. Now, if you see my first episode, which was the Kevin Davis episode, which was very equally as heinous as what I'm about to talk to you about, Kevin admitted to this and was fully aware of what was happening. In this case, Big Lurch, Antron Singleton, was not in his full capacity. He was high on PCP if he did do it. And the barbaricness of this is just remarkable. So he ended up taking out these organs and stabbing her in the shoulder and leaving the blade in there. She is now definitely deceased. She had bite marks on her face. And these bite marks and everything were compounded with all the trauma she went through. Of course, she died. The lung was chewed up, all right? So we're going to fast forward a little bit more, too. This PCP that he was on put him in a coma for 2 weeks. He was literally walking down the street before. I'm probably jumping the gun too far, and it's because I'm actually dizzy. I'm actually a little slower right now, and I apologize for that. It's just I'm not feeling well. He actually was found walking down the street naked, a big 6'7" guy walking down the street naked with a lung in his hands, right? And it was bitten, and apparently they believe he consumed some of the lungs. So cannibalism. Once again, we're talking about cannibalism. He supposedly chewed some of his lungs up and consumed it. With it being in his stomach now, he's walking down the street with it, staring up at the sky, and the police end up arresting him. When they arrest him, he's totally nude, covered in blood, and just walking down the street. Let's fast forward to 2 weeks later. He stayed in the coma for 2 weeks, PCP-induced coma, and did not have any clue what happened. He said the last thing he knew, he was out there trying to chase the devil and kill the devil before he ends the world. After he woke out of the coma, he had no idea what was done to Tanisha. He wasn't aware of if it was him or somebody else. Now, Big Lurch was a person that didn't do drugs except for marijuana. He started doing PCP for the pain and to be more so keep up with the gang that he's in. I'm going to touch a little bit about the musical part of his story. He is a blood gang member, and when he was recording in LA, his manager, who was Milton Grimes, and we're going to talk more about him, had an environment there where he brought a lot of Crips in. So if it's literally like bringing in a Boston Red Sox fan to work with a New York Yankee fan, it's not going to mix. It's just going to be bullshit. It's just going to be horror. So, Lurch didn't feel comfortable in that setting of working with these Crip members who were being more and more ghetto. He said, that's his own words. He said on Vladtv. Link for the interviews down below. You can check it out after this. He didn't feel comfortable with the way and this is his jailhouse interview, so I'll put it in the link below. He didn't feel comfortable with the way things were going, how he was being treated by these guys, how they were like trying to push him around or you know, and he's the wrong person. He's 6'7", so he brought more of his other gang friends from Houston, from Texas over there to his blood members to be in the area with him and to keep up with the gang. Supposedly he was smoking sherm with them in order to you know, to relate, I guess. So that was his only known drug usage, was the PCP after the car accident and while keeping up with the Joneses of his gang. He didn't drink. All he did was smoke weed and PCP now. So with this being said, I'm going to, like I said, I'm touching more into the gang stuff and to the his rap career. He didn't like the environment he was in. He told Milton Grimes, who is the owner of Stress Free Records, which seemed to me was stressful as hell. He told him, you know, he didn't like this atmosphere. He wanted a professional atmosphere. But in the other hand, Milton was trying to be Suge Knight, he said, and the guys that were trying to be Death Row. With that, moving back to the crime, he's in jail now, and he's going back and forth to court now, and he ended up using the record label's manager, the record label owner, excuse me, Milton Grimes, who's actually a lawyer, as his defense lawyer. Now, I'm not sure if Milton Grimes is a practicing defense lawyer. Apparently, at the time he was, but I also heard they had some negative feedback from him from other cases. But Big Lurch took it as, all right, this is free help here. He trusted him enough because he's a record label. Yet, in court, Milton Grimes gave the prosecution his unreleased record, which is It's All Bad. His unreleased record talking about certain horrorcore topics that fits perfectly with the crime that took place. Now, that doesn't seem correct to me. This is why a lot of people have a lot of reservation and believe that Big Lurch didn't do this. He pretty much said that Milton didn't defend him well, didn't give him clothes to wear in court, had him in court looking like a bum, had him in court telling him that you should go with the insanity plea, but get off, you probably do 2 years and that's it. But Big Lurch is like, listen, I ain't do shit, so why would I need to cop out to that? If I cop out to that, I'm going to jail, period, and I'm not doing 2 years for something I ain't do. So no, I'm not doing that. And he was like, oh, you know, we should do an insanity plea. He released the song that he had unreleased without Lurch's permission. he pretty much the teeth marks and bite marks on Tanisha was not examined to see if it was Lurch's teeth marks. Big Lurch did mention that he had a pit bull there, and with that being said, he believes the pit bull is the one that bit her face. However, the lung part, walking down the street with the lung, Lurch is under the opinion that he was more so forced to smoke the PCP more and to keep up with a certain image to make him look the part of a dangerous gangster rapper. And they kept on feeding him PCP and also Tanisha. They actually was liquid PCP found in her system, and they said the amount of PCP down her system could not be consumed, and it's to the point where nobody could believe that's consumed in one sitting. So it's more under the impression that was forced down her throat to make her incapacitated. Same could be said for Lurch, that he potentially was given so much of it that he don't know what the hell was taking place, either if he did do it or didn't do it. However, Tanisha's mom believed Lurch didn't do it, and she believed more so it was the boyfriend, Thomas, who Tanisha was looking to leave because he used to hit on her. He used to hit her to the point he was abusive. And with him being abusive to her and she's packed up to leave, what's better than to get Big Lurch in trouble, and not yourself, but yet also accomplish killing her. So that was more so under the idea of Big Lurch's, Tanisha's mom, is that she believed Thomas had more so to do with this than Big Lurch did. She's actually petitioning for Big Lurch to be freed. She don't believe he was guilty of the crime, and she believed that the record label was feeding PCP to up his gangster image to sell these records and to potentially turn him into the killer that he said he was in these horrorcore songs. Now, she also believed, I'm losing my train of thought, sorry. She also believed the whole lung part, him walking down the street with a lung, he said he believed he picked it up because he thought it was just a piece of meat and started chewing on it because, of course, he's in an extreme state from the PCP. But he believes the dog is the one that bit her face. He believes Thomas is the one that hit her with the scooter and stabbed her and disemboweled her. So these are interesting things. Now, Milton Grimes, the lawyer / owner of Stress Free Records, didn't fight the fight for Big Lurch. He was more interested in giving his record label some more credibility and housing actual killers that actually speak about what they're doing, that actually rap about what they're doing. And that's more under Big Lurch's idea of how things took place that night. Like I said, you can hear his whole jailhouse interview down below. I'll leave the link for it, and you go ahead and take your opinion from there and my story. Other than that, that's the story of Big Lurch, man. It's unfortunate. Rest in peace, Tanisha. That was horrible way to pass. It's an unfortunate thing. Nobody wins in this case. If it's not Lurch, he needs to be let go. He's right now doing life without parole, without the chance of parole in California. I think it's more so in LA. I'm not really sure what prison he's in, but he's been there already since 2002, so he's already has 20 years in. He's fighting his case. He's been going to the law library. He's been trying to figure out ways to get himself out and legally represent himself in court. He no longer has ties with Milton Grime and the record label Stress Free Records. His Tanisha's mom went on to try to sue the record company, Death Row Records also, which that fell off because they had no say in the matter. They wasn't affiliated with anybody. They pretty much, she believes the record label is trying to uphold his gangster image and turn him into a certified gangster. Without the permission of Big Lurch, It's All Bad, which is his album before that he was recording before he got put into prison, was released, and they put on the cover a picture of him holding a skull on the cover, of course, to, you know. And they also released a documentary, Milton Grimes and the record label, without the permission of Big Lurch, called Drugs Made Me Do It. And it's unfortunate that he has no say in his representation one and presentation in the documentary. And my dogs, hey, stop. It's about time. Hey, it's about time for me to end this, I guess they're saying, because that's what happened last time. Broski. So anyway, he had no say in this, so it's unfortunate. But you know, if he didn't do it, he needs to be released. If he did do it, he is where he belongs. All right, that's the story of Big Lurch, and more so Tanisha Macias' murder by either Big Lurch or Thomas, whoever did it. And I'm certain the crime, it's over. They're no longer gonna try to figure it out. They're content with Big Lurch being the killer in their eyes, and a lot of people fighting for him not to be in there no more. All right, I'm your host of The Cult of Horror, Devereaux Davis. Please like, subscribe, share, tell a friend. And this was episode 2, and look out for episode 3. Episode 3 is slipping my mind right now because I am so out of it. But you'll know what episode 3 is when you see it next week. Talk to you later. Peace.